Hey buddies, SomeNutzGuy here. Hope you're having an awesome day so far, and welcome back for more RLCraft. In this video, we're going to talk about the best enchants for your weapon in RLCraft. And you'll notice we have a few different weapons on our hotbar, and these are sort of the top weapons that I think are the best weapons in the game. You'll see that I've got fire and ice nunchaku, and I'll talk about that in just a second. And we have some enchants over here. That's a lot of enchants. It's going to cost a buttload of levels. So I'll talk about the best way to enchant these so it costs as little levels as possible as well. It's called the 1248 method. I mean, we might even get to more than that. And upgraded potentials can be something we throw in here as well. So I'll mention that. Firstly, though, I'd like to talk about a couple of bits here. Ash Destroyer is the first one we have right here. And that's because I wanted to talk about Ash Destroyer, particularly with regards to the nunchucks, and also an element as to why I've got an ice and a flamed one here. So Ash Destroyer is an enchant that deals extra damage if the enemy is on fire, and it is not compatible with Fiery Edge. Now, Fiery Edge is a variant of Fire Aspect that also allows the weapon to bypass mobs' immunity frames if the mob is on fire, which for a while was considered core for the nunchaku, especially if you have very high attack speed, because the faster you attack, the more likely you are to, not do damage because of the mob's immunity frames, and the nunchaku have very high attack speed. So Fiery Edge was considered core. However, there's been discussion, and I've done a lot of testing myself. The Ash Destroyer enchant actually gives you a higher DPS, even considering the fact that you will ignore the immunity frames with Fiery Edge. So Ash Destroyer is my choice for highest DPS possible. It's just overall going to be better than your Fiery Edge. Now, I also have the Iced variant here and the Flame variant. And the Iced variant you'd put with Supreme Fire Aspect. And the mob isn't lit on fire because the ice stops the mob from being lit on fire. However, the Ash Destroyer still procs weirdly. Now, I don't know if that's meant to be the case, and I imagine it might get patched at some point, and I prefer fire just because it looks cooler, I think. But so you can do this with ice nunchucks, with the Fire Aspect enchant, and Ash Destroyer. The mob doesn't look like it's on fire, but in my testing, and multiple people have also told me Ash Destroyer still procs with an ice variant and Fire Aspect, even though it doesn't look like it's on fire. Weirdly. Alright, so the weapon that we're going to enchant is the Sentient Great Cleaver, just because it looks so freaking cool. So we're going to enchant this, and now what you'd normally want to do is get all the enchants out. And you'd normally want to... Oh, yes. Okay, so we can also talk about the fact that knockback, if you like knockback, great. You could also use fling or levitator if you want to have something that gives that kind of effect. But we're not going to put it on the weapon today. Curse of Possession, obviously, if you're in hardcore, amazing. But I don't recommend it necessarily for survival unless you're very confident. Because Curse of Possession will delete the weapon if you die. So there's a bit of a risk and reward there. Obviously, having the weapon pulled out of your hand by a sticky mob is bad. But then if you die to some kind of freak accident, or you AFK in your base and a Ramon kills you or something stupid like that, then having your weapon deleted when you could have easily just recovered it is a shame. Now, in terms of enchanting, what you'd normally want to do is you would basically put your weapon in there, and then you would check the cost of each individual book and organize these in a way that the most expensive was the ones that you enchanted on first, and then the least expensive was the ones you enchanted on last. So you kind of put in, okay, so that was 12, that was 10, that's 3, so it'd be way at the back, and this is 8, so it's somewhere in the middle, and that's levitator, so we're not actually going to do that one. That one's 6, so again, it's around there. Okay, well, we done our first enchant. I can't be bothered to order this, but what you'd want to do is you want to go through and just order everything. So it's most expensive all the way right through to least expensive. Then you'd enchant on the most expensive first. Then you'd combine the 2 next most expensive, and then you'd put them on. And then you'd combine the next 2 most expensive, and then the next 2 most expensive, and then combine those 4 together, and then put those on. And then this is probably where you'd want to use upgraded potentials. If you have it, if you're going to use upgraded potentials, you'd do it before the 8 book. And here you guessed it. So we did 4 in the last one. So here you combine the next 2 most expensive, next 2 most expensive, next 2 most expensive, next 2 most expensive. Then you'd combine these 2 and those 2 and then these 2 to a point where you've got 8 enchants on there. Then you'd put this on the weapon. And then you can just kind of, with the last few enchants, put them together and slap them on. So that's kind of how you want to do the enchanting. Theoretically, obviously, I didn't order it properly, but that's essentially what you'd be doing. So what we have here is Envenomed 3, Arc/3, Ash Destroyer 5, Supreme Fire Aspect 2, Unbreaking 3, Adept 3, Vampirism 2, Advanced Mending, Atomic Deconstructor 2, Rune of Piercing Capabilities 4, Swift to Slashes 5, Parry, Lifesteal, Advanced Looting 3, Viper 5, and Subject PE 5. And of course, lastly, you have Supreme Sharpness 5. I don't know why Supreme Sharpness 5 wasn't in my shulker box, but there you go. You'd have all of these plus Supreme Sharpness 5. And this is essentially going to be the same across the board. Even with the nunchucks, as discussed, you wouldn't need the Fiery Edge because the Ash Destroyer is going to give you a higher DPS overall. And that pretty much is that. Guys, if you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more, consider subscribing. It's always great to see you in the comments, and I hope you have an awesome rest of your day. Take care. SomeNutzGuy. Grab gaming by the nuts.